Live, local, now. This is the News at 6.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Just 1 hour left to make your voice heard in the November general election. The polls close at 7 p.m. in both South Carolina and Georgia. And as long as you're in line at 7 p.m., though, you can still cast your ballot. One thing we haven't seen a lot of today, though, long lines.
WTOC is your election station, and we are keeping an eye on several local and national races, including the race that will determine who will be the president of the United States. Tonight, we do have live team coverage.
We begin with our Sean Evans, now joining us live from the Chatham County Elections Office.
Don, the tabulations of absentee ballots and early in-person votes can begin in about an hour when those polls close, and the tabulation process will happen right here at the Chatham County Board of Elections office headquarters. To get the in-person ballots that were cast today, they'll have to wait until this gear, which you're seeing, that was handed out ahead of time yesterday to every poll manager in Chatham County, until that gear comes back. That won't happen until every voter standing in line at 7 p.m. casts their ballot.
So after they finish all of that work, then they have to drive here, and next door to our office, they check in next door, and they give the check-in crew all of their materials, which will be used for tabulation.
And we'll be bringing you live looks of the tabulation process once it begins here tonight, ahead on WTOC. Now reporting live in Savannah, Sean Evans, WTOC News.
And of course, we're going to be watching several local races very closely tonight. One of those is for Chatham County District Attorney.
Our Blair Caldwell has been following it and joins us live from outside the Civic Center, where voters have less than an hour to cast their ballots.
Well, you guys, as you mentioned, I am here at the Civic Center, and I'm inside of the polling location right now. And as you can see, no voters are at those machines behind me at this time. They are still open, and you are still able to come in and cast your ballot here at the Civic Center. But one of the votes that people will be voting on today, and one of those races, is the Chatham County residents will decide on who is the district attorney. Meg Heap currently holds a position and has done so since 2012. She feels her accomplishments speak for themselves. Since filling the role, she has created a special victims unit and Family Justice Center, expanded programs for at-risk youth, and more. Meanwhile, her challenger, Shalina Cook-Jones, feels she could better serve the county to be more efficient, equitable, and effective. If elected the lead prosecutor in the county, she wants to create a charging and sentencing review panel, direct time, talent, and resources to cases that deserve it, and protect the rights of victims. For now, reporting live from Pooler, as we mentioned, polls still open. Not too late for you to come by and cast your ballot, because people are getting in and out of here very quickly. But reporting live, Blair Caldwell, WTOC News.
One of the races on the ballot in Georgia, the 1st District congressional race between U.S. Congressman Buddy Carter and Democratic challenger Joyce Griggs. WTOC Sam Bauman joins us now with more on what the candidates were up to today. Sam?
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Of course, this race is one that the incumbent, Buddy Carter, knows quite a bit about. He's pretty familiar with it, in fact, because he's running for his 4th term, 4th re-election here. Now, of course, like many, though, politicians, he was out to vote early this morning.
Well, from Georgia's 1st District race to South Carolina's U.S. House District 1. South Carolina's race is very tight right now. Incumbent Democrat Representative Joe Cunningham is up against Republican challenger Nancy Mace. Both candidates were out of the polls early this morning.
In the Lowcountry, the city of Beaufort has several big elections nationally and locally.
Our Lowcountry reporter Kristen Rary spent the day visiting the polls across the county. Kristen, what are people saying today was like in Beaufort?
Well, Mike, just a few minutes ago, I went into this polling locations at Robert Small Academy, and I spoke to a few poll workers who said, by and large, the biggest rush was this morning when the line did wrap around the building, as we were seeing in a lot of the polling locations. However, after a few hours, that did settle down, and people were able to get in and out in just a few minutes. Now, Beaufort County officials said they were expecting a nearly 80% turnout of all registered voters. And as of last night, the South Carolina Election Commission had published that 55,000 voters had already cast absentee ballots. So that's 40% of all of the registered voters in the county. So they were expecting the other half of that group to come out today and cast their ballot. And I spoke to one young man who said that he traveled all the way from College of Charleston just to come vote when he got out of class.
I'm 20, so this is my first age to vote for a president election. I had a chance to vote in a previous election, but I chose not to. So it was interesting leading up to today.
There is so much tension in the country right now, and so just be able to individually be able to cast my vote and feel like I have a say, I think that means a lot.
And many voters who were coming out in Beaufort County are first-time voters. And I spoke to a few who are excited for not only the national election, but also the local election. And I will be speaking to the city of Beaufort's mayoral candidates coming up, and I'll have more on what they have to say about today and waiting for those results at 7. In Beaufort, Kristen Rary, WTOC News.
For now, continuing with our election team coverage tonight, our Bria Bolden joins us now live in Richmond Hill. And Bria, how is it looking out there at that polling site?
Well, Mike, more voters have made their way in and out here at the recreation complex here in Richmond Hill, and there hasn't been a line since I've been here. And voters I spoke with earlier said they're very happy with how quick this process has been so far, and they're very happy with the precautions being taken inside the polling location. Now, poll workers are sanitizing machines, their social distancing measures are in place, and a lot of the voters are wearing masks, and things have been moving very quickly here. The poll manager here has also reported no issues at this location. But some of the voters have been showing up to this location, have found out they are at the wrong polling location. The poll manager is asking that you check your polling place before you come to the polls. And we'll have more updates here in Bryan County on the news at 7. Live in Bryan County, Bria Bolden, WTOC News.
Welcome back. Steady lines in Liberty County today for the election, but no major issues to report.
WTOC's Amanda Aguilar joins us now from the polling place in Hinesville, which closes, of course, in less than an hour.
Yeah, more than 2,200 voters have cast their ballot here in Liberty County. Right now, I'm at Lewis Frazier Middle School, where the poll manager says a couple hundred voters have come through. Now, I want to get out of the way so you can see what it looks like right now. It looks like we have one voter at the poll. Now, the poll manager tells me this is a very different scene compared to past elections because there's not a swarm of people. This is usually a pretty busy polling location, but she says many people took advantage of early voting, which actually has helped poll workers and voters today just have a less stressful experience. Now, I did speak to one voter over at Liberty County Community Complex. He was a first-time voter. He says it was really important to make sure that his voice was heard because there was one particular issue that drove him out to the polls.
All the police brutality, and we just need to change in this country.
To give a shout out to Liberty County poll workers because every time there is a first-time voter, they announce it out loud and everyone starts clapping. A lot of enthusiasm out here, and they definitely want to make everyone's polling experience a less stressful one and also a good one. But as for technical difficulties here at this precinct, not a lot of major ones, the poll manager says. She's just really happy how things have been running really smoothly. But for now, live in Liberty County, Amanda Aguilar, WTOC News.
We're getting some reports of possible tampering with some absentee ballot machines. So our Jake Wallace is live now in the Carver Village community out in the west side of Savannah. Chatham County Chair of the Board of Registrars confirming to WTOC believe that someone messed with that absentee ballot box. Jake, what else can you tell us?
Well, Dawn, what we know right now, the chairman of the Board of Registrars says it appears some kind of tape was put over the ballot box slot sometime between 11:45 a.m. yesterday and 9 a.m. today. They say it looked like packing tape, and Since this happened on city-owned property, they are asking the city to pull some nearby surveillance video to see if they can find out who did this. If it was done on purpose and not some sort of accident, the board says they would consider this election tampering. This is obviously a situation we're going to continue to follow this evening and tomorrow, see if we can find out any more about what happened over here in Carver Village. In Savannah Live, I'm Jake Wallace, WTOC News.
And we do want to give you a last reminder. The polls close at 7 p.m. tonight in both Georgia and South Carolina.
That means you only have about a half hour left to cast those ballots. But if you're in line at 7 p.m., you will be able to vote. Starting at 7 p.m., we'll have live team election coverage bringing you the very latest results and a whole lot more.